here is a list of the senses. And at the top, it says charge, the most multisensory impaired of all syndromes. And then it says problems with the perception of vision, hearing, touch, proprioception, temperature, pain, vestibular, smell, and taste. And we're going to be focusing especially on proprioception and vestibular sense, but we need to remember that all those other senses are likely to be not working properly in a child with this syndrome. And when one sense is missing or not working properly, that can have an overlapping knock-on effect on other sensory systems. So the complexity increases as we look in more and more depth into all those different sensory systems. One of my main mantras is looking at what children do. I think we're very inclined to assume that a child, especially a young child with charge, doesn't know anything and can't do anything. And we approach them as if they're like a blank sheet, and our job is to start writing on them with the things we're teaching and the things we're introducing to them. But actually, I get an awful lot of my assessment material when I first meet a child purely from observing what they do. How do they hold their bodies? How do they move? How do they amuse themselves? What do they like? What do they dislike? How do they relate to other people? How do they relate to the objects around them? How do they relate to the floor or the couch or the family dog? All those behaviors give me information that's important for my assessment. I don't have to go in and start testing and giving the child things to see if they can see them, or making a noise to see if the child can hear it. I'm really selling this idea to you very strongly that the children are already giving us the information we need to start a successful assessment of them. And so much of what I know about this syndrome has come purely from observing child after child after child. And when I observe what they're doing, I'm very inclined to turn to their parents or family members or teacher or whoever's there and say, does he do that a lot? Is that unusual? Why do you think he does that? Do you think he likes that? And get their idea of these things. But also, I'm trying to show them that what the child's doing is important for me. I go in, they think I'm some kind of expert, and I'm asking for their viewpoint because I don't know the child the way they do. But I'm also trying in a rather underhand way by my manner of showing them that they are privy to crucially important understanding and insight that they need to share with me and everybody else involved with the child, and that it's important and it's valuable. Now, here is a diagram. It's called the pyramid of learning, and it shows at the bottom of the pyramid the central nervous system, or if you like, the brain and the spinal cord. And at the very top, it's got academic learning. And in the field of education, people tend to think that education is all about academics. There's a terrible pressure all over the world, I think, these days, to focus on academics and academic achievement. But if you look at the pyramid, the very base of the pyramid is the sensory systems. They have to be present, they have to be working, they have to be coordinated if the child is then going to move up the pyramid into sensory motor development, perceptual motor development, and ultimately cognition and intellectual development, ending in the El Dorado, the Valhalla of academic learning. And if the senses are not there and not working properly, that's where we need to get involved and to start supporting and working with the child. The senses are crucially important, and we can't move the child up that pyramid without first addressing what's working or not working in their sensory systems and looking at it very much on a level of functioning. So that's another message from this presentation.